Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're older, why don't you come over and go back in time with me? 90s babies nostalgia.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is 90s Babies Nostalgia. We're a couple of 90s babies rewatch and sometimes watch for the first time tween entertainment from the early 2000s.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by or affiliated with any of the channels, shows, actors, brands that we talk about. We just really love talking about TV. And today we are talking about
Life with
Derek,
Derek,
Season 1.
Today we are going to be going through the intro and a couple of the first episodes in Season 1 of this Canadian sitcom. But before we get into it, Jessica, what have you been enjoying lately?
Well, Billie Eilish's new album just got released yesterday at the time that we're recording this. Hit me hard and soft. I have only listened to it one time through. Have you listened to it yet?
No, I didn't even realize it came out. Well, I haven't listened to any of Billie's albums. I just listened to like the singles.
You've never listened to the full album of When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?
Ooh, I maybe listened to it. I don't think so though. But I know like most of those songs have been released. You know, like on like a lot of those have videos. Anyway, no, I don't.
Oh my God.
I am an album girly. I appreciate an album. I love a concept album. Billie's just not an artist I've ever like sought out the albums to listen to.
Fair. Well, I highly recommend this one. I'm not going to name off any favorites because I don't know yet. I need to give it at least 2 more listens. It's only 10 songs, which I would say is my only complaint, but it does have a 43-minute runtime, which I feel like is perfect for an album. I like an album that you can like listen to in one sitting. And when it gets more than like 50 minutes, it's too much. Lunch is going to be the song of the summer. It's the song of the summer. You're going to be hearing it all throughout Pride Month. You are going to be hearing it at all the bars, a road trip. Like, it is a summer song. It's about to be a summer anthem. Like, I also love that with this album, she didn't release any of the songs as singles. She wanted to present it as one piece of art. So everything came out at once. It's awesome.
Love that. Maybe I do need to listen to it if she like felt so strongly about it being an album.
It's definitely way more similar to When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go compared to Happier Than Ever. So it feels like she's getting back to her roots of that first album. It's great. Give it a listen. I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't, go listen. What have you been enjoying?
I also have something that I'm sure everyone else has already enjoyed, but you have not, which is that Bridgerton Season 3 is rocking my world. It, as of recording this, is quite new still, and it's not rocking my world in like the sexy way. I think it will get there, that the previous seasons have done. I think that it had a harder challenge because this is the only season where we knew both of the protagonists going into it, and like we've known from the first series that they were going to have their own series if the show was popular enough. And by series I mean season. The Brits say series for season, and then I just use them interchangeably because I watch a lot of Love Island. Anyway, I think they had a harder job, but what's really, because it's not like there's no mystery or intrigue of like a new person, but what is really rocking my world about it is I just love Shondaland. I love the representation always. There's been a little bit of disability rep like in this series on very, very side characters, but just the biggest thing is like watching Nicola Coughlan be a leading lady in what is a big romance show, a steamy show. She said in interviews that she asked for some of her nudity. Like, she made a choice to be very naked in some of her scenes because she should be like the same accepted despite her body. Like, she's round. She's stunning. She's a beautiful woman, but she has a round face and a like visible double chin and like a slightly pudgier body, and she's shorter compared, and none of those are bad things. That's not a judgment, but in my programmed brain from growing up, that does not say leading lady if she doesn't have like an angular face and like, you know, doesn't constantly look like she's saying the word prune. So it's just been really fun with my little brain watching her in scenes where she's being lusted after by a traditionally handsome man. And my brain is like, this is weird. And I have to be like, no, it's not. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it is awesome. I will not be watching it, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it, and I'm glad that it's giving you more than just a fun show.
I won't make you try to watch it unless we do something for the podcast about
Yeah, that's fair.
it. Getting into Life with Derek, guys. We've
Yeah.
said it in our previous episodes. I'm so excited for this because I watched this growing up, but Jess did not. If you're not aware, Life with Derek is one of just a handful of Canadian shows that were originally produced for the Family Channel, which is the Canadian version of Disney Channel, essentially, except as of like 2019, they don't have their Disney license anymore because the new channel got swept under anyway. But they showed a lot of Disney Channel shows over there. And then in return, around this time, Disney licensed a few of their shows, Life with Derek, Naturally Sadie. Those are the two that were at the same time. And then My Babysitter's a Vampire was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a Canadian production as well.
Hmm.
I don't know why. Like, I tried Googling. I tried being like, why, when Disney Channel made so much original content, would they just like randomly license these 3 shows? And I could not find any why.
Yeah. I tried to look too, and there's not really much on it.
Before I say the summary that I wrote down, which I thought was kind of good,
Yeah.
what did you think Life with Derek would be about?
Okay, so here's the thing is now that I've watched the bulk of season 1, there are definitely scenes where I was like, I remember this being in promotional material. Like, I have never seen this entire episode. None of the episodes I watched did it ever click that I had seen it before.
But you've seen the next week on, yeah.
But certain clips, I was like, oh, this looks familiar. I guess I knew it was going to be a sitcom. I didn't realize it was going to be co-led.
Okay.
And I did know ahead of time that it was about a blended family, but that's really all I knew.
I guess because you knew it was about step siblings. Did you realize that it was such a large family?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, Life with Derek is a Brady Bunch-esque sitcom, paying homage to the Brady Bunch even in their opening sequence with the door colors about a blended family. It picks up when teenager Casey McDonald and her younger sister Lizzie and mom Nora move in with the Venturis after Nora and George Venturi, a lawyer who has 3 kids, teenager Derek, tween Edwin, and 7-year-old Marty from a previous marriage, they all move in together. It is right when the show picks up. So they're already married. You don't get to see them get married. And the show primarily focuses on Casey's difficulty adjusting to a new family, house, city, and school, particularly as she butts ahead with Derek in every episode. Part of me is like kind of bitter that it is co-led, but I would say it is predominantly Casey's show, a little bit more than Derek's. Yet it's Life with Derek. He gets to be in the title. I think Casey would call this sexist if she knew what her show's title was.
Yeah. I didn't really notice that, but my husband did call that out because he watched a couple episodes with me and he was like, okay, this is all from like Casey's perspective and like she's the main character, which I was like, I would argue it's co-led. He was like, yeah, but the focus seems on her a lot, and why is the show called Life with Derek? I was like, well, I don't know. It didn't bother me. I was like, I think it's fine. Season 1 aired on the Family Channel September 18th, 2005 through January 26th, 2006. The show takes place in London, Ontario.
I believe it was filmed in Montreal or in Quebec, but
yeah. It was created and EP'd by Daphne Ballin. Christina Jennings, and Scott Garvey. As we go through this, a lot of these shows that these people are known for are Canadian shows, so they're not as familiar to me, and some of them are smaller shows. But this is a very connected group of actors, executive producers, creators, writers, because they all have worked on, like, you'll see the same shows show up like 5 or 6 times at least. So Daphne was the writer and executive producer on most of these, but of I Was a Sixth Grade, Alien, Life with Derek, Vacation with Derek, Star Falls, Murdoch Mysteries, and Life with Luca, which some of these are like spin-offs of Life with Derek. And then Christina Jennings is known for creating and writing Regenesis, Screech Owls, Dark Oracle, The Murdoch Mysteries, Strange Days at Lake Halsey High, Life with Derek, Vacation with Derek, Life with Luca, like so many things. And then Scott Garvey produced many of these same things that I already said, as well as Carmilla the Mobleys and Hudson and Wreck. The theme song, which we need to get into, is Livin' Life with Derek, sung by Cheyenne Twiner and performed by Gary Koftinoff. It's composed by Gary and Ron Prue. Gary Koftinoff and Ron Prue. I don't know. It's French. Gary received a Film and TV Music Award for Best Score for a non-animated children's TV program for this song. And he's well known. He's known for his works on Dark Oracle, Heartland, Saving Hope, Hudson and Rex. So it was a very well-received theme song at the time, and it was award-winning. It took me about 4 episodes to like it. The first few times I listened to it, I was like, I hate this and it's terrible.
I thought that you might, and I kind of hoped that you would. I have to say, it's very iconic to me in that it's very catchy. It does what I like, which is it tells you what the show is about, versus we didn't have that with Sweet Life. But listening to it, I was like, this is terrible.
It's
Even
bad.
I think the part of me that likes it is more of a nostalgia thing, and that it's so catchy. I find myself singing it when I'm not watching it on like the weeks where I've been watching a lot of episodes for the podcast. But the recording of it sounds like it was recorded underwater.
Yeah.
And no offense to the singer, but it's not the nicest voice to listen to.
Yeah, I agree. It fits the show, but the first few times I was like, I immediately wanted to hit like skip. I was like, I don't know about this. But I was like, no, I need to listen to it for the pod. And then after the 4th time, I was like, okay, I think I kind of get it. You know?
Uh-huh. Do you skip?
Not anymore, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It really won you over.
Listen to well, let's wait until we get to season 4. I might be over it by then.
I don't know if there is a 4th season.
Yeah, there's 4 seasons, right?
Oh, I don't know if there's 3 or 4.
I think we determined there was 4 because both of us were like, oh my god, why are there so many seasons? Yeah, there's 4.
To be fair, I will probably also be skipping it by season 4.
Yeah.
The intro of the show, like while the song is playing, is just the kids and the cast like playing around in front of a blue screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it doesn't show you clips of the show like Raven did. It's more like the Lizzie McGuire theme song, both in production quality and in what's going on in the like sequence.
Yeah. It's maybe slightly better than Lizzie McGuire with the big red ball, but only slightly.
Yeah, because you see their dynamics a little bit more in the Life with Derek one.
Yeah, yeah.
And also the Life with Derek one tells you what the show's about.
Yeah, which is helpful.
The other notable thing about Life with Derek, I'd say that sets it up is its editing style. It has these cutscenes that are interspersed throughout each episode where it's like they're nonverbal. And it's usually like Casey and Derek butting heads over a chair with a crown, or sometimes the other kids are there and they're like pulling each other. It's like a literal representation of the emotions that they're going through in their current dynamic.
Yeah, I would say it's like what Lizzie McGuire does with the cartoon version of Lizzie, except nonverbal and the actual actors themselves. But the cartoon version of Lizzie is her brain, and that's what Life with Derek is also doing with these cut scenes, but it's the actors themselves in acting out what's going on.
Yeah, in a very weird, removed, not real way.
Yeah.
I completely forgot they did this. I think the first one that happened in the show, I was like, oh, right, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah. I do feel like that was a style for that time.
Yeah, I'd say so. It feels pretty indicative of the time.
Yeah. Where now you're like, oh, I don't know if this would be a choice if the show was created today. But I didn't it didn't bother me or anything. I was like, oh, this isn't a choice.
Yeah, I don't mind it, actually. I think they're kind of cute.
Yeah, sometimes they're really cute.
They also use a lot of sound effects during the show, during actual scenes, like when Derek and Casey are fighting and one of them wins a point, like with the parents, you'll hear like a boxing match ding, like someone's won the round.
Yep.
There's other sound effects that get thrown in there as well. And then during the final credits, you get to see the bloopers, which I think just all of those are like the style of the show. It's a sitcom, but it takes itself seriously sometimes, but it's very comedic. I enjoy it because I like silly things.
Mm-hmm.
Cast. Our leading lady is Miss Casey McDonald, who is 14 years old at the start of the show, played by Ashley Leggett, or Leggett, I don't know, who was 18. She's the oldest daughter of Nora McDonald, the narrator of the show, very type A, and you wrote dancer.
That's what, when I wikied it before I watched it, that's what they said, but we haven't seen any dancing yet, guys. Maybe we'll get to it in a later season.
I think we will, but I'm not sure. It just like that, I read that word and it tickled my brain.
I know. I wrote these before I watched it and I didn't go in and edit them, so I'm hoping that they're accurate. Ashley Leggett. So her start was in professional theater at a young age, and she performed with like a well-known child's theater called Theater Aquarius and did like The Sound of Music, Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, Cinderella, Anna Green Gables. And then she went on to appear in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen in 2004. And then did a TV movie, A Very Merry Christmas, and played the series lead Cat Adams in Ace Lightning. She had a few other recurring characters in smaller TV films as well prior to getting her role as Casey.
Derek Venturi, the titular Derek, is also 14 years old. He is the eldest son of George Venturi, and he's played by Michael Cedar, who was 18 at the time as well.
She said the oldest son. He's also known for playing hockey. He's a big prankster. That's like a big, and just like he likes to stir the pot.
He's also the popular kid in school.
Yeah, and that too.
Can't not be bothered in most things.
Yeah. He was a child actor who began acting in the late 90s in short films and TV films, including the title character in the series Matamo, A Tale of Redwall. He also played Spencer Sharp in the Zack Files and Lucas Randall in The Strange Days at Blake Halsey High. And he starred in the 2000 film The Prize Winner of Defiance, Ohio.
You said a 2000 film.
2005 film. It's what I meant.
George Venturi is 44. He's the father of Derek, Edwin, and Marty. He is a lawyer, a bit of a stereotypical man, and he is divorced. And he is played by John Ralston, who was 40 at the time. Wow, playing up.
So he became interested in acting when he was studying for his degree. So he got his diploma in jazz studies and kind of was like, oh, I think I'm into this acting theme. He starred in a few films in 2000 prior to Life with Derek, including the role of Jack Burke in The City. And he also played Jack Avenir in The Strange Days at Blake Halsey High.
Our mother is Nora McDonald, who is 38. She is the mother of Casey and Lizzie. She's a window treatment specialist, apparently. Yeah. I didn't even know that.
This is part of the plot in multiple episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never noticed.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And she's also divorced and newly remarried to George. And she's a pretty level-headed mom. I'd say she's similar to Lizzie's mom.
Yeah. I think she has a very close relationship with her girls and she's navigating how to be a stepmom. But yeah, she's very like you can tell she is thinking about the decision before she makes it in terms of interacting with her kids.
Yeah. And she was played by Joy Tanner, who was 39 at the time.
Yeah, and Joy got her start in the late 90s as a commercial actor after moving to Canada. And then she moved from commercial acting into TV acting. And so she played Cheryl Ann in Boogie's Diner, George Fane in the 1995 Nancy Drew TV series. And then she also voiced Candy Kong in Donkey Kong Country, but a lot of Donkey Kong things, which I thought was funny. And Jill Stone in Cold Squad.
Our younger child on the McDonald side is Lizzie McDonald, who is 10 years old. She is Casey's younger sister, and she's a bit of a tomboy. She likes to play soccer and is much more level-headed than Casey. Honestly, kind of too good of a sister for her, but that's chill. And she was played by Jordan Tudosy, however that's pronounced, who was also 10.
She has done things after Life with Derek, but the only thing that she really did prior is she starred alongside Michael Cedar in The Prize Winner of Defiance, Ohio.
Countering Lizzie on the Venturi side, we have Edwin Venturi, who is 11 and was played by Daniel Madger, who was 13 at the time. Edwin is classic middle child. He's Edwin's younger brother, but they do have another sibling on the Venturi.
Brother.
He's Derek's younger brother, but they do have another sibling on the Venturi side. And he's a bit of a nerd. He likes technology, and he's pretty smart. And he's a negotiator. You know, he's not afraid to switch sides to the McDonald's as long as he won't get in trouble with Derek. But he does do whatever Derek bribes him to do.
Daniel had a few one-off roles in TV series, including an episode of The Famous Jet Jackson, and he also was in X-Men.
Oh, small role, I'm sure.
Small role, yeah.
Yeah. The youngest Venturi is Miss Marty Venturi, who was 6 years old.
I love her.
I was wondering if you would. I thought you would.
She's perfect.
She is really just your youngest sibling. Like, she's 6. Like, that's her whole personality is she's 6. She has imaginary friends. She likes to pick scabs. She hyperfixates on things. And she says it like it is.
She really loves cats.
She does really love cats. And she does have a good relationship with all of her siblings, but especially Derek.
Yeah. Yes. Ariel Waller also starred in Cinderella Man in 2005 as Rosemary Braddock. Other than that, though, this really was like their first standout recurring role.
Yeah. And we'll cover this more in the wrap-up, but I don't think that Ariel continued acting after Derek.
A lot of them didn't.
Yeah.
Spoiler!
Casey's best friend is Emily Davis, who is 15. And she is also the Venturi's next door neighbor. Emily is, I don't know, she doesn't have that much of a personality. Like, she's similar to Casey, but less uptight. She cares a little bit more about being cool. She has a crush on Derek because he's the popular guy, but she's not committed to one guy. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She's not like cool at all, but she's not uncool.
Yeah. And Emily is played by Shadia Simmons, who's 18 at the time of filming. She starred in The Color of Friendship as Piper Dellums. She played October Wilde in I Was a Sixth Grade Alien. She also played Nebula Wade in Xenon the Z-Quill.
I have to just interject here. So she is the girl. So Raven plays Nebula in the first Xenon and the third Xenon. This is not a question. This is a disclaimer for the listeners because I'm aware. Raven plays Nebula in the first and the third, but in the second, she did get replaced. Why? No one really knows. And Raven on a podcast recently talking about Xenon seemed to not know herself that she was replaced in the second one. This is the girl that replaced her in the second one. Don't hate her for it. Disney does some weird shit, okay?
Yeah.
I will not stand for any slander on Shadia Simmons' name because The Color of Friendship and Xenon raised me.
Along with many of her co-stars, she also starred in Strange Days at Blake Halsey High and also in Ace Lightning.
And then last our main cast, not last of our main cast. Sorry, we have two more. I just forgot Sam was at the bottom there. Paul Greeby is the guidance counselor / computer science teacher at the high school that Casey and Derek go to. And another thing that I completely forgot about this show is that every single episode, Casey has a meltdown in the guidance counselor's office. Because in the very first episode, her mom makes an appointment with him for her because she's like, you're really going through it. You should maybe see the school guidance counselor.
Yeah.
And so he's like not really to be taken seriously, but he does offer some wise words. He really just kind of grounds her whenever she's at her peak Casey moment in the episode.
Yes. He also, I feel like sometimes the advice he gives contributes to some of the chaos that is later to come.
Okay, but that's also to do with Casey's interpretation of his advice.
Oh, yes. Yeah, 1,000%. I'm not saying it's bad advice. I'm just saying that his character is there to kind of set that up as well.
Yeah, but he's definitely a little ill-equipped for the job of guidance counselor, which is set up from the beginning when she's like, you mean the computer science teacher? But just know if we don't mention him in a summary, he is in every episode.
Yeah. Paul was played by Arnold Pinnock, who was 37 at the time. He actually started in sketch comedy at Toronto's Second City main stage.
Cool.
And then he starred in quite a few TV shows and TV movies. The only one really of note prior to 2005 was Twitches.
Yeah, I saw he was in that.
Yeah.
And then last and kind of least is Sam Richards, who is 15 and he's Derek's best friend. He's on the hockey team with him. He doesn't really have a personality. He's a nice guy. He has sisters and he likes Casey and Casey likes him.
And Sam was played by Kit Wayman, who was 18 at the time. Kit also played Sully in Degrassi, The Next Generation in 2003, as well as was part of a hip hop duo called Two Left with his cousin, which like is very hard to find information on, but apparently was a Canadian thing. I don't know.
That's so Canadian.
Yeah.
Like also a couple of white guys in a hip hop duo and their cousins, and I just
that's why I had to include it in the summary. It's like feels unimportant, but also very important.
Also, when you know what he looks like, guys, if you're watching, I'll put a photo of him in the video. But he's just like, he's so white and he has a big ass head, which I think about every time I watch him. And he kind of gives like trouty mouth. That was a Glee reference.
Well, getting into our episodes, we're just going to cover a couple in this one. We are going to cover the first episode of season 1, The Room. Casey and Lizzie are setting up their new room in their new house in the Venturi household, but it is so cramped in there. There's no space for anything. There are boxes on top of boxes with things that look like they're going to fall off the boxes on top of that. Like, it is chaos.
Like, guys, they're talking about it being cramped and you don't see it at first, and then later you see it and you're like, oh shit, like where did they even go?
Yeah, like there is no space for them in this room. And so Casey is trying to get Nora and George to do something about it. So she opens up to Nora being like, I have already been through all of these changes. Like I have a new family. I'm in a new house. I had to move towns. I'm at a new school. And on top of that, now I'm being crammed into a space. Like I don't even feel welcome in my own household. And so Nora's like, you know what? I'll talk to George about it. And so George offers her to still have her bedroom in the same room with Lizzie, the cramped one, but to offer her a separate place to study in the basement. But she turns that down because she's like, basements are creepy, which she's not wrong.
She says, I believe her words are that she finds basement soul crushing.
Yeah. Then we go to school where Casey learns she has to also share her locker, but that's where she meets Emily, who they'll become best friends. And at school, she kind of learns that like Derek is cool and Emily thinks he's hot and a lot of the girls think he's hot and Casey's not really sure how she feels about this. She's like, this is weird. And then later in the afternoon, she tries to get out of her appointment with the guidance counselor, Paul, but he convinces her to stay and chat for a few minutes. And he tells her, maybe you need to take action with this room thing. It sounds like you're talking to everyone, but maybe what you need to do is take some action. So what does Casey do?
She comes in strong in the first episode. We get our first Casey family meeting where she sits everyone down and she gives a presentation and she proposes that she gets Derek's room and he moves into the attic with Edwin, which I'm sure that you realize Derek would never go for this, even though we were talking about the very first episode. It's what teenage boy would. And also, this is his home that he's been living in his entire life. Kind of crazy of her. Instead, Nora and George kind of double down on they can renovate the basement. And she kind of devises it in her head that she's going to agree to this. Because if she makes it seem like she wants the basement, then Derek will want the basement. And then she can have Derek's room. So she's like, yeah, guys, go ahead. And so they renovate the basement in a weekend. And it comes out pretty cool, actually. And she's like, thanks, guys. This is so fantastic. And Derek's like, I'll be you've done so much. I'll be the good brother and move into the basement and you can take my room. And then she messes up by agreeing too enthusiastically and too quickly, because as soon as she agrees, Derek's like, wait a second. And the parents are like, wait a second. And everyone rises up. And so the parents decide that Derek and Casey have to fight in the basement until they come to a conclusion about who is moving down there, and they leave them down there without food.
But instead, what ends up being decided is George and Nora decide to take the basement and give Casey their room.
I do want to say, while they were fighting, that they came to Casey agreed that she would take the basement because she realized that her mom and George are so happy and she felt like she was messing everything up by causing all this tension.
Yeah, true.
So that's our first summary of Life with Derek. It really sets the tone for, we didn't mention this really, but Casey lived in Toronto. They moved to London, which is a ways away. It's still not like super far, but it's a couple hours, I'd say, by car, I think. And Casey went to an all-girls school, and now she's going to a co-ed school. Like, they have substantially changed. And then on top of that, all-girls school, living with her mom and her sister. It's been a very female life. And the Venturis, their only female, is 6 years old, being raised by a pack of wolves. They're a very masculine house. And so this is where...
Including Marty.
Oh, yeah, because she is what she's been taught. So this is where the majority of the conflict of the series comes from.
Yes, yeah.
Which I kind of get, because I myself live in a very feminine energy, and I can't imagine melding it with a masculine one.
No, even me, like, I am married to a man, but like one of the huge reasons that it works and I picked my husband to marry is he grew up with his mom and his two sisters for majority of his growing years. And so he was raised in a very feminine household. So he has a lot of feminine attributes to him. To grow up in that sort of environment, or even Casey to not grow up into it for 15 years and then to be thrown into it, I also would react the way she's reacting. Like, it's a little crazy, but I'm like, you got thrown into crazy. So how did they expect you to act?
I just have to say, like, this is not important at all, but getting into our actual notes, like, the egg scene is so disrespectful.
I don't remember what happens with the eggs.
This is like middle of the episode. Nora makes a big skillet of scrambled eggs for everyone for breakfast. And every single child is like, no, I'll just have cereal. Like, I want to have cereal. And they all have their own different bowls. And then finally, Derek comes down last. And George is like, Nora made eggs. And he starts shoveling them into his mouth out of the pan. And they're like, those are for everyone. And so he spits them back out into the pan, which... whatever, classic Derek, like, that's rude. But to me, just the fact that, like, if my mom made eggs, I would not be allowed to say I want cereal. Like, she made eggs, I am supposed to eat the eggs. Like, it's so rude that everyone's like, no, you made like 12 eggs, but I'll just have cereal.
Yeah, No, I agree. It is rude. Especially like she's trying to fit into like Nora is also trying to fit into this new role too. Like
Yeah.
and so that's like her trying. And everyone's like, cereal. Screw
Yeah.
you. There is one part where when they're trying to talk about what to do with the rooms, and Nora's like, well, Casey does make a point. Like the attic is bigger. Derek could move up there. George is like, we are not kicking Derek out of his room. And he describes Derek as a lifetime project.
He says long-term project.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I rewatched this one today. So I made that comment, but I forgot to press confirm on the comment until just now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, lifetime or long-term project is better than lifetime project.
Yeah.
That makes more sense, but still a long-term project. I was like, really? But then also I'm like, well, what are children if they're not long-term projects?
Really. And I do like that he's realistic. Like, I don't really know why Derek's such a jerk, but he is a jerk.
Yeah. Having to share lockers sounds so annoying. We went to a high school where we didn't have lockers, but if I had a locker, I wouldn't want to share.
That was going to be my note, was we didn't even have lockers, so it'd still be better than nothing. Like, but
I
also
don't
we
know.
didn't need them because the way our campus worked, like it would have been even more of an inconvenience probably to have them, because
Yeah,
then like
imagine
you have to
having
constantly
to walk like 10 minutes just to get to your locker.
like even if we put them in a central location,
There's
sometimes your
no
classes are actually
location.
near each other, and then you'd have to like leave and go, and then it wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't have made sense for us, but still, I agree. But also, who's realistically bringing that much stuff to school? Like, your locker wouldn't be that much of a mess if you just took stuff home.
Yeah, it's true. But I think people who have lockers rely on having a locker. So that's why they put like pictures up and like, I don't know, it just becomes an extra place to store junk. And I feel like sharing it with another person who also is using it as an extra place to store junk just sounds terrible.
It sounds very intimate.
Yeah, it does.
I do like that while Nora is navigating this new role as stepmom and a wife, second wife to George, she does still step up for her kids and like advocate for them. So like when they're having the family meeting and Casey's talking about the room stuff and it's like what she's asking about is ridiculous to the Venturis and they're all like, we would never kick Derek out. Nora's also like, okay, but also Casey has given up a lot. Like she's not afraid to interject. She kind of waits her turn and then does.
Mm-hmm. She's very strategic about it.
Mm-hmm. And I love that.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember who says this or how it comes up, but the concept of sleeping on it. Oh, George says that they should just sleep on it. And I just got to say that that's a concept I stand by. Sometimes really the solution is just fucking sleep on it.
Yeah, this is the one where that's when they have the family meeting and they're all getting heated up and Nora's like, well, why should Casey have to give everything up? And he's like, let's sleep on this. Mm-hmm. And that's how the meeting ends. It is a good way to just calm down, clear your head. And also sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but I got ADHD, so I wake up with random ass thoughts.
But it's also like sometimes sleeping on it means you come up with other solutions that you wouldn't have been able to come up with in the moment.
Oh, that's what I meant. Is that I'll just like randomly have like 10 hours later, my brain will go, like I won't have even been consciously thinking about something. And my brain will suddenly be like, we could have done this.
Yep. The biggest, like, this would never happen of this episode is that they said and did, they renovated a whole ass basement into a bedroom in one weekend.
And by renovated, we mean the walls were not insulated.
Yeah, it was an unfinished basement.
There were just some beams creating some separation, and they didn't finish the whole basement. You can see when they go down the stairs, that part's still unfinished, but they had to put up walls. It's too much work.
In one weekend. And they didn't hire a contractor or anyone outside. It's just the family doing it.
And George is a lawyer who repeatedly cannot fix things in this show. Like, that's part of the thing when he's like, oh, we can fix up the basement. And they're like, the way you made that birdhouse that, like, collapses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was like, what in the HGTV? Like, what is this? House swap? What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
So, because Life with we have not touched this topic at all yet, actually, which is kind of crazy. We're talking about Life with Derek like it's a normal show, right? And it is a normal show. It is realistically a normal show, guys. Be cool, be normal. But there is like this lore about it.
Yeah.
Just knew of it before watching it because it's a blended family, and our leads are two same age teenagers of the opposite sex who are constantly butting heads, which has led the fans to interpret their relationship as being quite flirtatious.
Yeah.
Because they're step-siblings. They just met. I mean, they probably didn't just meet. We actually don't know how long George and Nora were together and how long their kids knew each other before they got married, but it feels very much like they all just met. Like,
yeah.
This flirtation and like tension is something that permeates throughout the series that like the actors knew the fans picked up on. It's never written into the script, but the actors then maybe influenced it as the show progresses because, yeah. The ship name is Dasey. It's one of the top 10 most popular ships on AO3 always. Like, even though this show ended 15 years ago.
It's crazy.
Dasey is still like a top 10 or top 20 pairing on Archive of Our Own, which is the fan fiction website.
So for this, we're going to do like a sibling flirting scale for each episode. And I just want to remind you all, I have never seen the show before. So I'm going to have a different opinion than Amanda. And I got to say, guys, off the bat, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't see it. I just don't see the flirting. I don't know why I don't see it. I wrote this one 2 out of 10, maybe. I feel like I'm being generous.
And because I watched the show and like growing up, I was like 10 or 12 watching the show and I was like, why do I want these two step siblings to date? I knew it was wrong. I was old enough to know it was wrong, but I also was old enough to recognize that internally I felt it and I wanted them to be together. And it was very confusing and conflicting, and I'm still not sure I've processed it fully. But because of that, I have a lot of nostalgia and bias, so I'm not going to maybe give my own rating. I might influence Jess's a little bit, but I'll leave her with the 2 out of 10 for this one.
Okay.
I think that it's fair. One of my first notes, though, was, why are they so flirty from the jump?
When?
Okay, I think this is Michael Skeeter's fault.
Okay.
That's his name, right? Michael Cedar. Sorry, my bad. I think this is Michael Cedar's fault because he just like plays Derek with a smirk all the time. And one of the first times that Derek and Casey butt heads in this episode, he's just like standing in a doorway smirking at her. And I'm like, oh, why is this kind of flirty? Okay. Yeah. I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah, he does play it with a smirk. That is true. That is how he plays the character.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with him than her for sure, though.
We'll see where it goes.
I just cannot emphasize enough that they are step siblings with no blood relation who have not been raised together. They're both 15 and just moved in together. Yeah. And we're not promoting this relationship. It's just a part of the show that we have to talk about.
Yes. Getting into our quotes, when Casey is upset about her room, she sits down and writes a letter to her mom, and she goes, Mom, I left a letter on your dresser since you don't reply to my emails. And her mom responds and goes, like the one with the subject line, divorce George.
Which is so messed up.
The balls. Like, she's 15 here. Who knows how old she was when she sent, probably around the same age. But the balls of a 15-year-old girl to title an email Divorce George and send it to your mom.
And it was probably like, Mom, I cannot go through with this move. I cannot leave my friends in Toronto. Therefore, the only solution is that you have to divorce George.
Yeah.
I'm terribly sorry. I know that you really love him, but there are lots of eligible bachelors in Toronto, and I'm sure any of them would be a great fit.
Yeah, that's exactly what the email was. The other one I wrote down is a Marty quote. Sticking with it, we said Marty really loves cats, and I just enjoy that she loves cats. And one of her lines when, speaking of the egg scene, when Nora's trying to give everyone eggs, Marty replies, "Cats don't eat eggs, unfortunately."
Yeah, because not only does she love cats, which, by the way, the Venturis don't have a cat, she thinks
No.
she is a cat. She's playing life as a cat half the time.
Yeah.
So that cats don't eat eggs, unfortunately, is her reason for not eating eggs.
Yeah, because she can't possibly eat the eggs because she is a cat.
Yeah. As are we all. Another Marty quote is that one of those mornings she walks down into the kitchen and she goes, "I have an announcement. I'm not wearing socks. I said I'm not wearing socks."
Yeah.
Like, her lines are so random.
They're so random, but it doesn't feel, it is definitely there for comedy. Like, she is written to be that comedic lift in the episode, but it feels so in tune with what a 6-year-old would be like, raised in the environment that she was raised in, that it doesn't feel like it's just there for comedy's sake. Like, it feels like a real character, but they're also hilarious.
Yeah, like, of course, a 6-year-old thinks it's very important that she's not wearing socks and also really needs the attention of the room when they're not giving it to her, so she just raises her voice because they need to know.
Yeah.
And then our final quote from this episode is from Derek when he realizes that Casey has been trying to outwit him. He says, "Since when did the keener become the schemer?" Which I had to write it down because it just felt very Canadian.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Okay, see, I have a few words in my head that I never know if they're Canadian or both, and keener is one of them that I always forget is Canadian. And I think I called someone a keener recently in public, and then I was like, wait a second, no one knows what I'm talking about. It's just like, you're keen, it's a nerd. It's
Okay,
nerdy
okay.
because you're like overly keen to like be a goody-goody.
Okay, like eager, but more so.
Yeah, but I'd say calling someone a keener is similar to calling someone a goody-goody or a brown noser. It's like you're trying
Okay.
so hard to be the good kid in an adult's eye.
Okay.
Anyway, episode number 3, The Fall.
The Fall.
Oh, and disclaimer, these episodes, we are going through them in production code order, but they were not aired in production code order, but they are on streaming in production code order, so you're welcome. Doesn't mean we won't maybe have continuity issues. The Fall. At school, Casey's walking down the stairs. Derek's walking up the stairs with his friend Sam, who had just said that Casey's cute, but Derek was like, "You're blind." And Derek comments to Casey, "Nice outfit, who died?" And I have to say this part because Jess just wrote, Derek comments, "Nice outfit." That's not what he says. He says, "Nice outfit, who died?" to
Okay.
Casey. And then because that is an insult,
Yeah.
she then gets frustrated and falls down the stairs and takes like 5 students with her and ends up with her head on someone's butt.
But yeah.
And Derek, being the supportive stepbrother that he is, says, "Nice job, Clutzilla," which then becomes her school nickname. The next day at school, there's an announcement about dressing for stair safety, and they even name her.
Which is so mean. It's so mean.
Yeah, because someone was like, I think Emily was like, "Well, maybe they don't know it's you." And then they're like, "Thanks to the Casey McDonald rule." And even the guy whose butt she landed on, his dad is a lawyer and he's suing her for posterior trauma. Blunt posterior trauma.
Later on in the living room, when they're all at home, Casey gets introduced to Sam, and they're having a conversation, and she ends up tripping and falling on this, like, it's not construction, cardboard house that Marty had spent all day decorating. She ends up falling on it and crushing it, and poor Marty is crushed. Later on, Casey's like really upset about this. She storms upstairs, and so Lizzie goes, talks to Derek, and is like, "You need to like help Casey out. Like, her reputation is now ruined at school, and part of this is your fault since you started, well, you said the insult and you started the nickname Clutzilla." And he kind of offers to help, but also he's like, "It's not me. it's Sam. She has a crush on Sam, and anytime he's around is when she trips. And so later on at school, she has this grand idea to fix her reputation by giving a speech to the entire school. And both Derek and Emily are like, we need to stop this, but she will not listen to them. And so Derek gets Sam to interfere as she starts her speech and pull her away to just walk her to class.
She's such a keener. She's such a keener.
Mhm.
She wants to give a formal speech, and Emily's like, this is a bad idea. And she's like, no, I can win them over.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Yeah, the last note on this is that, which we didn't mention, the episode opens up with this and ends with this, is that for the last 2 weeks that Casey's been going to this high school, Derek has completely pretended that he does not know her.
Yeah, he's ignored her.
Yeah, he's ignored her. He's not told anyone that he knows her. Only Emily knows because she's friends with Casey. And then finally at the end of the episode, as part of his trying to help Casey out because he's cool, he admits that he is her stepbrother. And he tells some of the nerds, like, hey, leave her alone. Spread the word. She's my stepsister. Which brings us to our first note.
Yeah, it's just, that's weird that Derek ignored her for 2 whole weeks. Like, I get they have this tense relationship. I get he's the popular kid and she can potentially ruin his reputation because of how, like, goody two-shoes she is. However, it's still strange.
I actually think it's pretty realistic. I think longer than 2 weeks would be weird. Longer than 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, this is very much a show plot. But for 2 weeks, for like, just like a teenager who's like, I'm embarrassed by this person and also they're brand new in my life, but also who is it harming if I just pretend that I don't know them? It's not like she's like wanting to run around holding hands.
Sure.
I think I just think that a teenage boy would do that because he just is amused by himself.
Yeah. See, I see it more as like a reputation play. Like, he is afraid of ruining his reputation, and that is why he, as the cool kid, so that's why he doesn't want to associate with her.
I think there's a bit of that, but he seems very confident in his reputation, and a lot of that comes from how much he doesn't care. So I don't know how much that is a factor as much as he knows that it probably annoys Casey, and that amuses him. The Canadianisms, the sorries kill me. Because she falls down the stairs and you just hear a cacophony of sorry. That's how they say it. That's how they say it in Canada, guys. And it just, I used to have classmates who would say sorry, guys. And especially the ones from Ontario, they just say it the most stereotypically. And if you're from Ontario listening to this, like, hi, I love you. Our friends from Pop Capsule Pod are Canadian and I love you guys. I lived in Canada for 3 years. That's why I can't stop making fun of you.
I also like the way they say bag, but I haven't heard it on this show yet. But
bag. A bag.
Yeah. It's like they add an E in there.
A bag. Yeah. That was the one that I wasn't expecting when I moved there. And then my roommate did it. And she was like, what do you mean I say it weird? And I was like, you say it weird.
Yeah.
The schadenfreude of this whole episode is very real and very funny to me because just like the whole episode, while Casey's worried about her reputation at school, all of the adults are trying to cheer her up, never by helping her, but just by saying, hey, listen to this really embarrassing story of a time when I like also did something really dumb and people thought it was funny. And she even goes to Paul and is like, you have to cheer me up by telling me something terrible that happened to you.
Yeah.
And then he does.
He does, yeah. In this episode, I liked Casey's relationship with her mom. They have a scene where they just like bond over what she's going through and she opens up to her and she talks about Mr. Larson, which is one of Casey's current teachers, and how her mom kissed him, but they used the term necked, and I was like, is this a Canadian thing? But based on what I googled, it's just a term that's used for kissing, but I had never heard necking.
Yeah, I googled it too because I know it. I think it's more maybe
like
common.
Old.
Yeah, it's like 70s, like our parents' gen for the US, but I feel like I've heard it from like Love Island. Like I feel like it might be a little more current in other English speaking countries.
Got it. Okay. That makes more sense. Because I knew what it, like, I wasn't, I had to look it up, but I was like, I'm pretty sure this means kissing. But I was like, I just have never heard, like, necking be used. Because they used it multiple times
Yeah, I feel
in
like
that
I can hear it.
conversation.
I can hear it in an Australian accent in my brain. There's this scene where Casey's doing an at-home aerobic workout in her room, and it's just such a vibe. Like, she's got the sweatband on, and she's doing these, like, really good form punches, and yeah, it was a vibe.
Yeah.
I did also like in this episode, as part of the whole episode, that all the adults are giving funny stories, right? But after Nora, George does come and check in on Casey and tell his story. And I just liked the co-parenting of it. You don't often see them alone together.
I enjoyed that too. We see it kind of throughout the series too, that like there's one episode I think we're talking about in particular where you see it, but like Nora and George are really trying to make this work. Like
Yeah.
they are really trying to adapt to being this blended family. They love each other, but they are like, this is as new to them as it is to the kids. And there are certain moments where you really see them trying to navigate how to do that best together.
Yeah, and they mess up a lot. And that's a common plot point throughout the series, especially season 1, I've noticed, even in some that I didn't show you. But it is really refreshing to watch them struggle and try their best. And just, they're not perfect parents, but they're trying, and that makes them good parents. I also just really enjoyed the dynamic of like the younger siblings and the older siblings, but I feel like they're definitely gonna have complexes from that. Like if we had a proper, like, Life with Luca is the little,
Spin-off?
it's not even a spin-off. I feel like it's like a movie spin-off. It's like Derek and Casey, their families when they're older, and neither Edwin nor Lizzie are in it. I haven't seen it. This is just what I know off the top of my head. I just feel like a true spin-off would be following Edwin and Lizzie in their like corporate
Yes.
jobs where they're miserable and they go to a lot of therapy.
Yeah, I also would like to just see Marty as a teenager. Like Marty but 17.
I would like to see Marty as an adult.
Yeah, that too. Getting into our sibling flirting scale, I rated this episode a 0 out of 10. I don't get it. This is going to be a common thing. I don't get it. Someone help me get it.
I gave it a 1.5 out of 10 because the kindness that Derek shows her, and this is one of the first episodes where I think you see him step up for Casey in a way that he doesn't really want to, but you can tell that he does feel a kindness towards her. It can be construed as a sibling way, as it was, I'm sure, written, but there is a lingering where he's like watching her in the hallway, and it's also because Sam says that she's cute, and Sam is the common denominator that makes her klutzy, right? But also Derek insults her every time Sam's around. So it starts this wondering of like, why does Derek care so much if his friend likes Casey?
Sure.
So I gave it a 1.5 because it's all indirect, but I feel like it's planting seeds.
Yeah.
Quotes from this episode. One of the early on Marty gems is, remember last year when I barfed? It had yellow chunks in it.
Don't remember who said this, but I loved it. What's wrong with being emotional? Probably Casey.
No, this was Nora. This was during the dinner where they were talking about how Casey has been going through it at school, and Edwin and Derek were like, oh, is she being emotional again? And Nora like turns to George and is like, what's wrong with being emotional? Like, what are your sons saying?
Yeah.
When Sam comes over to the house and he sees Casey, he's like, I thought you said that you didn't know her. And Derek says, a recent accident in my marriage.
So mean.
I know, but I love the way he phrased it.
One of my favorite Marty quotes from this is they are speaking Pig Latin, and Marty goes, pigs speak Latin?
That's it for our first 3 episodes to get a good feel for it. I do want to give a little shout out to episode 2, House of Games, because it made me cackle with Marty's line. This is one where I texted Jess and I was like, I had to pause. I was laughing so hard. And I was hoping you would identify the line, but then I didn't assign the episode. So I just have to give it a little shout out because she has an imaginary friend in this episode named Daphne. And Casey at one point is accidentally stepping on Daphne. And so she moves over and she tells Marty, tell Daphne that I'm sorry. And Marty just very plainly says, too late. You hurt her feelings. She hates you.
I love her so much. So much.
I think the first episode I was like on the fence about how wild this child is going to be. And then she said that in episode 2. And I was like, I'm absolutely in love with this little girl. Like, she's so funny.
She's great.
Too late. You hurt her feelings. She hates you.
She hates you.
Which actually becomes part of the plot throughout the rest of that episode of like, well, Daphne hates Casey. So.
Oh my God.
Also, just a weird note in that is that there's a scene where George and Nora are kind of bickering, and George accidentally calls her Abby in the midst of this bicker, which is the name of his ex-wife. And I think it's the only time in the season that we hear that name.
Yeah.
So, thoughts. Jessica, mostly I want to know, what are your first impressions of the show and characters?
I like it. It's in the same vein of the shows we've watched so far, but completely different.
Agreed.
At the same time. So it feels refreshing.
Could you expand on that at all? Like, what makes it feel different? Because I know for me, but I would like to.
I think it's the dynamic that a lot of the plot either takes place in basically 2 places. It's either at the house or at school.
Well, it's like Lizzie and Raven.
Yeah, but because of that, we get a lot of more time with the characters, and because it's such a large cast of characters, I feel like we just get a lot more personality and conflict and interpersonal relationship building that we have been able to get from other shows, because I feel like there's not a lot of like shenanigans like Sweet Life where they're getting up to nonsense all the time. Like all the things that happen, even though there are pranks and there's tension and like, you know, the main part of almost every episode is Casey and Derek butting heads. It's butting heads in a way that would happen in the situation that they're giving. It's not because they're going to do something outlandish. So it feels a little more grounded, I think.
Yeah, it's very interpersonal.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. I wrote, this is somehow like an annoying show, yet the most charming and grown-up show that we've watched.
Yeah, totally.
I really wasn't sure how you were gonna feel about it when I started the rewatch, because I forgot how absolutely insufferable both Casey and Derek can be.
Yeah.
But as annoying as they both are, I think the writing is really good. I think all of these characters, yeah, some of them are a little lacking in personality. Some of the younger kids, we don't see as much of them. We might later on, we might not. I don't really care. But Casey and Derek especially are written in a way that even when they're annoying, you like really understand them, and they usually come around, and it doesn't feel contrived. It doesn't feel like, oh, haha, she had to learn a lesson. That's the lesson of this episode, really. It just feels like teenagers, kind of.
Yeah, it feels like a TV-fied version of reality. Of if this was to happen in real life, these are the sort of things that would happen. And then, of course, it's escalated to make it entertaining to watch. But it's not like outlandish or ridiculous or like this would never actually happen. Like they're just doing this to make a point. You know, it feels real.
Yeah, which is what a sitcom is supposed to be. Sitcom stands for situational comedy. You put some characters in a situation and watch what happens.
Yeah.
To have a funny little side note, I don't know how you watched it. I've been watching it on Freevee. If you don't know, guys, you can watch it for free on Freevee, which is part of Prime. And a lot of these episodes, or scenes from these episodes, I should say, look like they were filmed underwater in 2005. I don't know why.
I felt like they looked like they were filmed in 2005. I'm personally not getting the underwater vibe, but I'm also watching on Freevee.
They look like they were in a sauna. They look like the lenses had not been cleaned in 20 years. They were just like sweaty, grimy.
Okay. I'm not getting that.
How do you feel about our characters in Life with Derek? With like Derek, Casey, or Obviously, we love Marty, the parents. Like, is there anyone that stands out as someone you really like, someone you really don't like?
I like Casey and Derek. I don't think either of them are likable characters, but I like that both of them are not likable.
They're both unlikable and likable at the same time.
Yeah. I would like to, especially since we get 4 seasons, see more development, especially of the middle kids, because, like, as we said, Marty's thrown in there for comedy. She's also 6, so she can't really contribute to the plot all that much because she's 6. But I would like to see a little bit more development of Lizzie and Edwin, because I feel like typically when their characters are used, it's to develop the plot further with Casey and Derek. So I would like to see maybe more of just them.
I do really like that they are the middlemen, that neither of them are above going to bat for their older sibling by blood. Neither of them are above telling their older sibling by blood when they are messing up. I really like what they do for the family dynamics, and they seem to get along the best of anyone in the house when it comes to the Venturi McDonald crossover.
True.
But I agree that it would be nice to see more of who they are as people.
Yeah.
I'm glad you seem to be enjoying it. Up next, we are going to be covering the rest of season 1, most of, but not all of the episodes.
As always, please rate and review wherever you watch your podcasts. Follow us on social media on YouTube and Instagram at 90s Babies Nostalgia. Spell out the word 90s. We are also on TikTok, but use the numericals there. And with that, we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Babies nostalgia.